Welcome to the WSL Post Show here at the SHISEIDO Tahiti Pro, presented by Outerknown Day Tour competition. And we got a lot of work done. Down to the quarterfinals for the men. I'm Kuiper along with Felicity Palmentier, a.k.a. Flick, and Peter Mel for this post show. Ladies first, Flick. We ended the day with a bang.
We really did. That 9.57 from John, last wave of the day, was absolutely incredible. Cemented his position in the quarterfinals up against Gabe. It's kind of what we wanted. So exciting.
We saw a lot of heats today. We saw a lot of excellent scores, Pete. We saw a lot of heats getting flipped within the final couple minutes of the heat.
It's true, and I love that. I mean, I think it's obviously, you know, when you get it all the way to the end and you see these last-minute heroics, you know, it was a challenging day today. It wasn't easy, Teahupo'o. There was not, you know, the slam dunk waves, and so you can see how good the world's best are by the fact is the numbers were good. And it's because the surfers found ways to get scores.
A point I want to make, last year we had the men's Final Five decided by this range. But right now, it's still wide open for 2 more spots for the Final Five for the men. And why? Look at the top contenders as we go through these brackets. Felicity, you got to pick for a quarterfinal. I think they're all entertaining, but you got to pick for one to watch.
I mean, I just spoke about it, but the Gabriel, Medina, John Florence is going to be super exciting. Second, they're all amazing. But the Yago Dora, Jack Robinson, wow.
So Peter, Leonardo Fioravanti, Yago Dora, Jack Robinson, Gabe Medina, John Florence, all in a hunt of clinching and a possibility for them to clinch a spot in the Final Five. Depends on how Finals Day goes.
That's right. And you think the big 2 heats are going to be the Yago Jack ones where they're must-win for both those surfers in order to really solidify a spot in that Final Five, and also the quarterfinal number 4 between Gabriel Medina and John Florence. There's a ton of scenarios that can unfold here. Even Leo Fioravanti, still in the fact that he's in that number 1 spot, has a chance if he can get himself into that Final Five. I mean, you look at this little sheet here. This is my little artwork I threw the day, and you know how you love that, Kuiper, right? You like this one? You do, yeah. Right? So all little white spots there, that's that middle pack that are fighting for that 1 and 2 spots that are left on the draw. And again, ton of scenarios could unfold, but the must-win heats, quarterfinal number 2 and quarterfinal number 4.
Guy that's going to be watching on the sideline and how it plays all out is he came in 4th on the CT rankings into this stop. Joao Chianca, though, he was a victim of an on-fire Tahitian in the way of Kaoli Vaslik.
Yeah, Kaoli was just looking so dominant. I mean, Joao took a couple of crazy drops there. We just saw one, couldn't quite stick it. Had to take off his wetsuit top here. Thought it was limiting him a bit too much, but Kaoli was just unstoppable. He knows every section of this reef. This morning in particular was really quite rogue out there, really hard to read, and I feel like that local knowledge really came in handy. Just picked out some absolute gems in what was really quite hard.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of surfers being able to manufacture and find and hunt and do all those things that the best surfers do. And a lot of them have done it. I mean, even Joao, you know, again, limited experience here, but he is very good in these types of waves. Give it a bit of a run, but ultimately, Kaoli is just way too strong.
One side of the fair in this elimination round, Kaoli Vas found a 7, found a 6, found a way into the round of 16 as the day continued. That's just how we started the morning here. Let's take a look at the numbers, Pete. Pretty one-sided there.
Yeah, it was. I mentioned, but I mean, Chianca, he's capable out here, you know, and he gave it a run, but ultimately, Vast is just way too strong out here, considering what we've seen from last year and what he's already been able to produce. He's back in the quarterfinals once again, and he's a spoiler, and here he is doing it again.
Yeah, he was a spoiler last year. He's a spoiler again this year. Then we had a heat, an anticipated heat with Kelly Slater, Yago Dora. Kelly looking on point. I mean, and this is a place where he has a very, very high heat winning percentage. We talked about 79% for Slater, but Yago Dora, he wants to protect his spot in that Final Five. So he had to defend it against Kelly Slater, in which he did, Flick.
Yeah, look, to be honest, in the beginning, Slater was coming out firing. He had the 7.33, the 6.93. He was looking like he was getting in that kind of really connected form, but it wasn't over because Dora was just feeling maybe even more connected, finding a couple of smaller ones and just threading the barrel. You could really see that he was hungry to win. He wanted to make the most of all these waves. And Kelly, though, still looking so smooth, so in control. To me, I actually thought when I was calling this heat that Kelly was going to run away with this. wasn't actually until a bit later in the heat when Yago managed to find this one, which was that 8-point ride. You can just see the look on his face. He was just so stoked with that. And yeah, absolutely picking Slater right at the post, right at the end there.
Let's take a look at the numbers here. That 8-point ride at the post. Golden, Peter, for Yago Dora.
It feels destiny for Yago, really. When that situation happens, he was getting smoked. It was all about Kelly Slater through a majority of that heat. The last 10 minutes is where he put it together, and he needed to, and he did it. Slater had nothing to lose, but Slater felt like, it looked like he was on a roll. He looked like he was going to be in a nice rhythm to be able to finish out this event, but it didn't happen.
Speaking of Yago Dora, let's take a look at our WSL Final 5 snapshot. Yago Dora, Gabe Medina, in control of their own destiny. They take the win. They're guaranteed a spot in that Final 5. Joao Chianca, he's got to hope that Yago Dora does not reach the final. Gabe Medina doesn't win. A lot of stuff is hanging in the win for Joao Chianca. So it really is a story about Yago Dora, Gabe Medina, and Medina is going to have to overcome John Florence in quarterfinal number 4 to even make that possible.
Yeah, I feel really grateful that we even get to witness that. It's so cool. It's going to be an absolute showdown. It's going to be really nervous moments for Chianca right now. It'll be interesting to know if he's going to be watching this all go down, watch his fate play out in front of him, or if he's just going to be turning everything off and not watching.
It's going to be a big finals day. You know, I said before, Pete, like last year we had an idea of our men's Final 5 already by this quarterfinal round. This year, it is up in the air. That's going to make it so exciting to watch.
That's so true, right? I mean, that's what we wanted, right? Did we kind of want this to all show down in the finals, and all of a sudden there's this huge pressure-filled heats, and we're going to see these surfers have to perform in those situations because that's what this tour has been set up now, to showcase pressure and how you respond to it.
You know what we did also today is the World Surf League's a Tier 1 qualifier when we look at the 2024 Olympics, and let's take a look at our provisionally qualified surfer out of this season. Team USA all set up. Team Australia all set up. Still a spot, Pete, for Team Brazil.
And there's 3 surfers vying for it. You got Yago, Gabe, and Chianca all sitting there for one spot. And so you think about not only the Final 5 picture, but this one right here, which is huge implications.
Flick, check it out. Also happened today. Kanoe Igarashi representing Japan. He's going to represent Japan again in the Olympics. And Team South Africa all set. Jordy Smith and Matthew McGillivray already qualified, provisionally qualified.
Yeah, super exciting. Jack Robinson also provisionally qualifying today for Australia. So Australia also looking like they've got a really strong team. I like Pete's point. I can't believe we've got to pick that final spot out of those 3 surfers because that's just incredible. I just think back to this year and how strong they've performed. Like, what?
At different points of the year, too. I mean, Gabe's been able to somehow, considering what he started off the season, it was like, oh, wow, where's he at? And then sure enough, he has clawed his way back into an opportunity and one more day to see how it unfolds.
What's the playing field going to look like tomorrow, Pete? What's the arena going to look like tomorrow? Well, for that, let's take a look at what Surfline is providing for us as far as data, Peter.
Yeah, and there was this storm, the one and only that came through this second half of the waiting period. It really is it, that one there, and it's bringing us that kind of west-southwest angle that we saw today. There is another little burst in pulse that's going to show up for tomorrow, but it's going to be a different angle. You're going to see a lot more of that subtly angled swell, so we're going to go from probably 210, 205, and we're going to drop in. But there is a pulse. See that in the afternoon tomorrow? 6 to 10 feet. So ultimately, I think that we're going to see tomorrow be finals day, but anything can happen. We could have some rugged conditions, who knows, and then we have Thursday to fall back on. But ultimately, there's 2 days left of surf that we're going to be pretty stoked on, and some pretty good wins at moments, I believe. So fingers crossed that happens.
Yeah, so that's the setup. I'm anticipating it. We're going to watch what the wind does, Flick, but this good news is that we have more swell on the way.
Oh, for sure. That little bump in the afternoon for tomorrow looks pretty promising. Maybe could be seeing the biggest waves that we've seen all events so far. And I'm a fan when it gets bigger. Pete's a fan when it gets bigger.
You guys are a fan when it gets bigger. I'm a fan of what we do to help out the environment here with WSL One Ocean. We had a great activation before we started the event, and let's take a look at the good work from WSL One Ocean.
We're here at the SHISEIDO Blue project, WSL One Ocean Coral Restoration. The ocean gives us so much, and now it's our time to support the ocean.
WSL One Ocean is a global initiative to inspire the surf community to protect and conserve our one ocean to preserve the future of our sport. Today we are in Tahiti joining forces to restore coral reef ecosystems with coral gardeners and the Tahiti ET Surf Club.
So the WSL Pure Grant program has enabled us to start really the work with the local community of Teahupo'o.
Today we replanted some coral that these guys at Coral Gardens have been growing or cultivating out here.
So first of all, corals are alive, and here, especially in French Polynesia, they are home to fishes that we usually eat. So coral restoration is here to help this ecosystem to bounce back.
It's expansion of the project. We want to reach 1 million coral planted by the horizon of 2025. This initiative is really helpful for us to reach a big community around the globe.
We really want it to be something that comes from the local community, the surfers especially, the fishermen, and the kids.
It means the future, because kids, they're gonna live further after us.
I think without the coral, we'd be in a lot of trouble, and it's really cool to give back and plant a few and hopefully save the coral for many years to come.
Right now we're doing something very technical, like restoring the coral here in Tahiti. It's something very technical and something it could be a little bit hard to do when you're at home or when you're alone. But you know, there's so many different ways to support our ocean and protect Mother Nature.
If you have any experience in the ocean, you can feel like how it's so powerful, it's so much bigger than us. At the same time, by our action on land and stuff, we can affect it positively or negatively.
Show us what you're doing to protect our one ocean by posting on social media with the hashtag WSL One Ocean.
And tag WSL and WSL One Ocean on your post.
WSL One Ocean! Well, thanks again to the SHISEIDO Project Blue, as well as our coral gardeners and all the folks from the Tahiti ET Surf Club for that great coral reef restoration. Second year we've done that in a row. All right, you guys, you ready for it?
Let's do it.
We're ready for the final.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Top five of the day.
Bring it.
Top five of the day. Well, let's start off this top five. And Pete, our top five moments. We got some big moments here at the SHISEIDO Tahiti Pro, presented by Outer Known. The locals, Kauli'Vas, Mihimana Bray, dominated. They're in the quarterfinals, Pete.
That's right. You know, and again, the wild cards have proven to be very difficult to beat, especially this guy, Kauli'Vas, but also a pleasant surprise from Mihimana Bray, because, you know, we haven't heard a lot from him at this event specifically, and to get this chance and to provide himself a quarterfinal berth, that is pretty cool. This kid is very happy, and he's been doing it by getting numbers, by beating good surfers.
Yeah, beat world #1 on his way to this quarterfinal.
Beautiful surfing there. I'm just loving watching this Tahitian force. Like, tomorrow is going to be super exciting. Got a couple of big heats coming up. But yeah, Mihimana, I really liked watching him kind of on the world stage for the first time and really taking it to the world's best.
Number 4, it's all about Jack Robinson. 9.4 flick, the mastery of backhand barrel riding.
Oh, absolutely incredible. I was saying it when I called his heat, but I've just seen him do this time and time again. He is at home in waves like this. Waves that are a bit wobbly, a bit hard to read. This is Jack's bread and butter. Just 9-point ride in that heat. And I just cannot wait for his next matchup against Yago. It's going to be really fun.
Number 3, Pete. Gabe Medina. He's a force out here at the end of the road.
So true. You know, and you also sometimes question his motivation. I mean, he's already has 3 world titles. You know, because he's going to come out here. Is he going to be hungry? Well, certainly this proved the point, because he came out here, had the morning surf, you know, and disappeared from most of the day until right before his heat. Matter of fact, 3 minutes before his heat, he showed up in the lineup. He had his moment, soaking in the mana, and then went out there and just devastated.
Speaking of mana, bringing the power, John Florence, number 2, went excellent. An 8.07 and a 9.57, Felicity.
Yeah, really great surfing from John. He said it in the post-heat interview. He was just waiting for those one of those waves to come through the lineup that was going to give him that double up, and he ended up finding a couple of them. Last wave of the day, ended up scoring a 9.57.
Munster heat total 17.64 out of a possible 20 heat. Looks like John's the guy to beat.
Yeah, the guy to beat, but he's coming up against another guy to beat, Gabriel Medina. So that, again, it's big heat.
Speaking of beating the guy, number 1, Yago Dora, he beat the guy, Kelly Slater, with this buzzer beater, Pete.
Yeah, he did, and he did it in the last 10 minutes of this heat. It looked like Kelly running away with it, in rhythm, doing everything right, not making any mistakes. You know, there was nothing that we could fault for Kelly Slater. He did everything right, and all of a sudden, I guess the one thing, he had priority at the end of the heat. He let Yago go. That would be the mistake, and unfortunately, it tossed it out for him. He's out of the event, and Yago still has a chance to make it to that Final 5 and a chance to also to qualify for the Olympics. So big day tomorrow, especially for the Brazilians.
Big day tomorrow. Congratulations, Yago Dora. We'll see him finals day. Oh, man. I'm just decompressing from all of this, right?
Yeah.
I had fun today.
Okay. We got oxygen. You got some oxygen? I need some oxygen.
Pete, thank you. Flick, thank you. We'll take a look. We may be going tomorrow. Remember, tune in to worldsurfleague.com, 6:45 local time for a possible 7 a.m. start. Meanwhile, enjoy the end of day highlights. Aloha. Yorana.
It's big, it's pretty hefty, it's got a lot of jumbo in it.
Here goes Griff, pig dogging into this one. Rio Aida moves to the round of 60.
Kelly Voss pulls right in under the hood. Great read from Mamiya.
Whoa.
Incredible surfing by the GOAT, Ian Gentile. Wow.
Big K for Seth Moniz. Liam O'Brien. Kyle Belly.
He feels like one of those waves that he had was a 3.33.
Conditions cleaning up right now as we enter into this round of 16. Kelly Voss, even though he's a wild card, he's one of the most talented surfers in this draw.
Yago going the distance. Great execution from the GOAT. Yago chasing a 7.76. Yago Dora does it on the final wave, upsets the GOAT. Jack Robinson pull into a beast.
Wow, he said, come on.
Mihimana finds a deep one.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the